Alright guys, you're gonna have to go easy on me today because I'm gonna teach you how to do long division, but I also forgot my pencil at home. So I'm working with my sister's little stylus. But anyways, today we're gonna talk about dividing polynomials, like not just subtracting, like actually dividing. So this one's pretty easy. Here we have a polynomial, technically a trinomial, right? Oh my goodness, already off to a great start. A trinomial on the top divided by a monomial. So that's what I wrote up there by example 1. Polynomial divided by a monomial. Here's what we do for that. So we're just going to take the bottom, the denominator, and put it over everything. So I have 6, oh my gosh, 6x to the 4th, y to the 3rd, and then over 3xy, plus, and then you do the 12. So I'm putting everything over 3xy. Then we can do our division how we normally do. So this is just from last week. We do 6 over 3, which is 2. Then we subtract. So we have x to the 4th and x to the 1st, which is 4 minus 1, which is 3, and it goes on the top. And then, here, let me erase the bottom because I don't think we're going to have a fraction anymore. Then we have y to the 3rd and y to the 1st, so 3 minus 1 is 2. Then we come to the second one. 12 over 3 is 4. For the x, we have 3 minus 1, which is 2. And for the y, we have 2 minus 1, which is just 1. Then 18 divided by 3 is 6. For the x's, we do 2 minus 1, which is 1, and then the 1 and 1y cancel out. So this is our answer for that one. So to recap, just split them up and do it that way. Just minus, subtract like we usually do. All right, I told you we were going to get here. Here we are to long division. So long division is when you're dividing a polynomial by a binomial. Here is our problem. X squared plus 3x minus 40 divided by x minus 5. So here's how you write it. This part is called the dividend, and this part is called the divisor, I believe. So that's not super important though. So you write it like that in the little box, and I wrote the steps over to the right side. So let's start. If I can figure this out here. All right, the first step we have to ask ourselves is what multiplies by x? So I'm looking at this x right there. What multiplies by that x to get this x squared? That's the first step. What multiplies by x to get x squared? And we know the answer to that is x. So I'm going to switch to blue here. So x times x gets me x squared. Step 2 says multiply the x by the entire binomial on the left and then subtract. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this x times that x is x squared. The top x times the negative 5 is negative 5x. So I'm going to put those in parentheses. What we'll do is subtract. Whenever we subtract, remember, you have to distribute the negative. So here we get x squared minus x squared, which cancels out. It's 0. Then we have 3x minus negative 5x. 3x minus negative 5x is plus. So 3 plus 5 is 8x. Then step 3 over to the right says bring down the negative 40. So what I like to do is draw an arrow and say minus 40. Then we start over again. We repeat. So the next question says, what multiplies by x? Now we're looking at this number. We're looking at that x, 8x now. So now what multiplies by x on the left to get that 8x? And the answer is 8. So we take the 8 and we put it up here, a positive 8. And we repeat. So multiply the left side, that binomial, x minus 5, by 8. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. And you see that when we do parentheses and we subtract, it's going to be 0. So that 0 is our remainder. You guys remember that word? Remainder, which means that's what's left over, is 0. So our answer is up here, x plus 8. X plus 8. Okay, let's do the next one. This one is a to the third plus 2a squared plus 4a minus 9. And we're going to be dividing by a minus 2. So first step, what multiplies by a to get a to the third? Well, a squared. So now multiply the top by everything on the left. A times a squared is a to the third. A times negative 2 is negative 2a squared. Parentheses, and we subtract. A cubed minus a cubed is 0. A squared minus negative, or 2a squared minus negative 2a squared is adding. So we're adding those together. 4a squared. 2 negatives make a positive. Then the next step is we bring down the 4a. I'm using the steps over to the right here. What multiplies? Then multiply and subtract, bring it down, and repeat. So now we're repeating. The next step I'll use is green. So now, what multiplies by a to get 4a squared? 4a. So add 4a. Now, multiply that 4a by the a minus 2. 4a times a is 4a squared. 4a times negative 2 is negative 8a. Put parentheses, subtract. 4a squared minus 4a squared is 0. 4a minus negative 8a is 4 plus 8, which is 12. Then bring the negative 9 down. Next step, I'll use black. Repeat. What multiplies by a to get 12a? Well, 12. So put 12 up above. 12 times a minus 2. 12 times a is 12a. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Subtract. 12a minus 12a is 0. You just don't put anything. Negative 9 minus negative 24 is negative 9 plus 24, which is 15. So this time, that is our remainder because there's nothing to bring down. So we stop there. This is our remainder. What we do with it is we take it up to the top. So I'm going to draw an arrow. Take it up here to the top. We're going to add it, but we're going to put it over that small binomial that we were dividing by. a minus 2. Okay, so now this is our answer. So whenever you have a remainder, just put it over the small binomial that you were dividing by. Okay, next one. Let's scroll down. We have 2 more. So let's look at this one. We're doing r to the third plus 6r squared minus r minus 4 divided by r squared minus 1. All right, same step. Step number 1, what multiplies? What multiplies by the left? R squared minus 1. What multiplies r squared to get r? And that is, or what multiplies by r squared to get r to the third? And that is r. So r squared, r times r squared is r to the third. That looks awful. What multiplies r times negative 1 is negative r. Parentheses, subtract. R to the third minus r to the third is 0. And then, here, those are not like terms. So we have our r to the third here, but we can't put r squared right there because, our regular r, because we can't combine those like terms. So what we need to do is put a 0 here. And then we can put our negative r right here. All right, now let's subtract, because now they are like terms. The r cubes are gone. 6r squared plus minus 0 is just 6r squared. And then for the r's, we have negative r minus negative r plus r equals 0r. Then we can bring down the negative 4. Okay, switch to green. Next, do it all over again. What multiplies by r squared to get 6r squared? 6. 6 times r squared is 6r squared. And 6 times negative 1, well, we have another 0 here. There's no regular r. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Parentheses, subtract. 6r squared minus 6r squared, 0. 0r squared minus 0r squared, 0. Negative 4 minus negative 6 is negative 4 plus 6, which is 2. So this is our remainder this time. And remember what we do with our remainder. We put it up at the top over the binomial. So plus 2 over r squared minus 1. And here's our answer for that one. So the important thing to remember here is if you have a whole, you can't add or subtract like terms. You have to make sure you put a 0 term here and here. Okay? We have one more. Oh my goodness. This one's kind of long, so stay with me. The problem is x to the fourth plus x to the third minus 6x squared minus 4x plus 14 divided by x squared plus x minus 2. So this time it's a trinomial that we're dividing by, which is okay. We can still do that. So step 1. What multiplies by x squared to get x to the fourth? And that is x squared. So let's multiply that x squared by everything on the left. X squared times x squared, x to the fourth. X squared times x, x to the third. X squared times negative 2, negative 2x squared. Parentheses, subtract. The 4's are gone, the 3's are gone. We have negative 6x minus negative 2x, which is negative 4x squared. However, we have to go in order. We have to do the 4's, then the 3's, then the 2's, then the 1's, and so on. So I have to put a 0 x cubed here, because we did the 4 first, the x to the fourth, and now we have to do the x to the third. So over to the side, that's why I wrote you must go in order without skipping a term. Bring down your negative 4x. Next, what multiplies by x squared to get 0x to the third? 0 x squared does. So 0x squared times all this, it's just going to be 0 for everything. So 0x to the third plus 0x squared plus 0x. Everything's going to be 0. If you multiply 0 by something, it's going to be 0. So slide everything down. The 3's are gone. For the x squareds, we have just negative 4 still. And for the x's, we just have negative 4x. So see, what happens was we can't skip that term. We have to just bring it down. Then we bring down the 14. So plus 14. And we do the next step. What multiplies to get x from, what multiplies x squared to get negative 4x squared? It's a negative 4. Negative 4 times x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times x, negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Parentheses, subtract. The x squareds are gone. The x's are gone, and all we have is 14 minus 8, which is 6. So here is our remainder. And you know what we do. We bring it up to the top. So we say plus 6 over all of that. X squared plus x minus 2. And I know this has been long and very confusing with my horrible handwriting, but that is long division.